Hey there, cop players! How's it going? It's me, Kaiba. I'm tired of this. Daddy's already made one film, and then he filmed me outside too, and now he's filming this. And it's like, Daddy, get over it already. Put your phone down. But Daddy said he really needed to film this one for you guys. He's felt really bad, because he's like many days late. He lost count of how many days. Today's what? The 17th? 17th, that means he's like 16 days at least late, which is bad. Bad, Daddy. And I told Daddy, you have to do something nice to the humans to make up for the fact that you were so late. So Daddy said he would open his last pack of Lorwyn and one of his last packs of Avatar for you guys today, along with doing this video. And what are we here for today? We're here for the Commando Core Creator Challenge. Daddy's doing the reveal today of the last deck that we're going to build for Commando Core Creator Challenge. From this point forward, there's going to be a new series about deck building on the channel. Because the contest never really got off the ground. And because we can't afford to mail out cards anymore. So, yeah. Daddy forgot that he has some vet stuff he has to pay for soon in the near future. And Daddy was like, oh, shoot. And so he's got to get my blood work done. And I've got to get my stuff for the fleas and the ticks and stuff in the near future. And then Daddy also has to get my vaccinations in the summer. So the other stuff that Daddy kind of forgot he had to pay for. So Daddy's got to make sure he sets some money aside for that too. So Daddy told me that from this point forward, there's going to be a different deck building thing on the channel, but he just hasn't decided how he's going to put it together yet. And I'm going to say white here, white in the way, as a form of protest to this video, because I think that Daddy should just put down his camera, and we should go downstairs and eat, and then we should go play in the snow some more, because that's what I want. I don't want any more of these videos. But Daddy insists that he has to make it. Kaiba, I'm really sorry, but if I don't make this video, I'm going to be in trouble with the humans. Poor Snoop, he made his deck a long time ago, and he's been waiting very patiently for me to profile his deck on the channel, and to profile my deck alongside it afterwards. We're going to see how similar our decks are. I don't care. I'm not happy. Ah, Kaiba. Alright, well, we got Snoop's deck for the Commander Core Creator Challenge, the Shelob deck. Looks like he ended up being treated as Bracket 2. No game changers, no mass land, no extra turn cards. Pretty good, pretty good. So we'll go through his first, and then we'll do mine afterwards. But I have a feeling we both have pretty similar stuff in our decks. We got, of course, the commander for the month. It was Shelob, Child of Ungoliant. And this was a really fun build, to be honest. Death Touch, Ward 2. All spiders get Death Touch in Ward 2. Whenever another creature dies because of being dealt damage by a spider, you get to make a food token that is a copy of that creature, except it will not be a creature any longer. My protesting pug. I'm just trying to get the angle right on this so that you guys can actually see better. Because that is not turning out well. Gotta get down lower, I guess. There we go. Okay. So, then we got an Academy Manufacturer, because whenever you make a clue, food, or treasure, you're going to make one of each. That's a pretty good idea. Hey, we both have a Rasta of the Endless Web in our decks. I actually pulled mine recently from a Dollarama Draws a Destiny pack, but it is a very good card indeed, because it gives you a spider whenever an opponent plays an instant or a sorcery, so you're going to get quite a few of those probably. We both have Brood Spinner in our decks. Surveil 2, Reach, and pay 4, a green and a black to tap it, sacrifice it, and create a number of 1/1 black insect creature tokens with flying equal to the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. I did have Planeswalker in my deck at one point, but I actually cut it recently. I've been editing my deck ever so slightly over the last couple of weeks because I've pulled a couple extra cards for Dollarama, and I forgot completely about the one spider and avatar that I wanted to add in. So, changed it a little bit from what I posted on the channel originally, but not a huge amount. I actually even added in an extra land, which will make Snoop pretty proud. Brood Weaver. I do not think I had this one. 2/4, 3 and a green. When it dies, you get to make a 1/2 green spider token with reach. Pretty sure I don't have that one, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure we're both going to have a whole bunch of the same spiders, probably. We both have a Deadly Recluse. I do not have a Doom Weaver. I actually have very few black spiders that are pure black. I think the only pure black spider in the entire deck is the actual avatar card. So, what does this one do? Reach, Soulbound. And when it's paired with another creature, each of those creatures has, when this creature dies, draw cards equal to its power. That's a 1/8. That's a pretty powerful, pretty tough spider. So you're probably going to get the Soulbound off the other creature and get a decent hand. Enduring Tenacity, Snake Glimmer. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Ooh. When this thing dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment. I need to get a copy of that. That needs to go into my my 1 life gain, life loss deck. Definitely need to find somebody who has a copy of that and purchase it at some point later down the line when I can afford to purchase things. 3 and a black for Vampire Insect. 2/2 flying death touch. When a player sacrifices a non-token creature, create a 1/1 black insect token with flying. Nice. Whenever an insect, leech, slug, or worm you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Interesting. Ooh, he put in a Finn the Fangbearer so that all... Oh... So if you get smacked with a death touch creature when Finn the Fangbearer is out, you're getting 2 poison counters. That is really disturbing. He definitely went all in on this one. Good job, Snoop. Gilded Goose, classic, flying. Enters the battlefield, create a food token. Pay 1 and a green, tap it, create a food token. Tap, sacrifice a food, add 1 mana of any color. I don't think I actually have more than 1 copy of this. I have 1 copy of it in a precon that I developed later into something else, but Master Chef Guillaume, trample at the beginning of your upkeep. No, your end step, sorry. Create a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures you had entered the battlefield on your control this turn. Pay 1, sacrifice a food, target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. Damn. That's a good card. Hatchery Spider. I do not have this one. Reach 5 and 2 green for 5/7. When you cast this spell, reveal the top X cards in your library, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. You may put a green permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Damn! That is insanely powerful. Ishkana Graph Widow? I do not have that either. 4 and a green, 3/5 reach. When this thing enters, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, create 3 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach. Nice. Pay 6 and black, that looks like. Target opponent loses a life for each spider you control. Damn! You got some cool stuff in here, Snoop. Izoni, Center of the Web. Elf Detective, Menace. When this thing enters the battlefield or attacks, you may collect evidence 4. If you do, create 2/1 black and green spider creature tokens with Menace and Reach. Ooh. Sacrifice 4 tokens, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards, and you gain 2 life. It's interesting. Marionette Master? What's up, buddy? What's the matter? I have to make this video. I promise, after I make this video, we'll go downstairs. Okay? This will be the last one for now. I promise. You can go if you want. You can go lay down on your bed. You're okay, sweetie. Do you need water? Is that your issue? I can pause it and get you some water. Well, that mystery is solved. Alright, so, where were we? Alright, fabricate 3 gets to enter with 3 +1/+1 counters on it, or you get to create 3 servos. Whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to this thing's power. Shit. Okay, so he's definitely going all in on the token stuff. There's the Mirkwood Bats too to reinforce that as well. Frostfang. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So you're going to get cards and poison counters put on people? Nice. Penumbra Spider, Reach. Whenever this thing dies, create a 2/4 black Squire creature token with Reach. I don't know why you don't want to work for me, down arrow, but I am trying to focus on this program, please. Let's see, where were we? What is a Rot Widow pack? Spider Reach 2/4. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create a 1/2 green spider creature token with Reach. Then each opponent loses 1 life for each spider you control. Shit. You really found like all the cool spiders. My deck is very like generic. It just has spiders in it, essentially. It does not have nearly the effort into it that Snoop put into his. Other tap creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof. Pay 1, tap, untap another target creature or land you control. Okay. There's a second Shelob? I didn't know that. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, exile it, pay 2 and a black, put a creature card exiled with Shelob to its owner's graveyard, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Shelob, draw a card. X1 black, put target creature card with mana value X, exiled with Shelob onto the battlefield tapped under your control. Well, that's insane. Skirklash Spider, Reach 2 green and X, deals X damage to each creature with flying, 2/7. Swareweb Reaver, Reach Hexproof from blue. When this thing is dealt damage, you gain 1 life and create a green Saproling creature token. We do both have the Sweet Gum Recluse. If that wants to load. Internet is being very fussy with me right now. Flash Cascade Reach, and when this thing enters the battlefield, put 3 +1/+1 counters on each of any number target creatures that entered the battlefield this turn. Maybe not. I think I have that. I thought I did. Swarmweaver, Scarecrow, 2 black and green. 2/3. Whenever this thing enters, create 2 1/1 black-green insect creature tokens with flying. As long as there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, insects and spiders you control get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. Twin Silk Spider, I think we both have that, but I'm not 100% sure. Twitching Doll, I don't have that. There's a spider toy. Okay. 1 and a green. Taps to add 1 mana of any color. Put a nest counter on this thing. Tap this thing, sacrifice it, create a 2/2 green spider creature token with Reach for each counter on this thing. Ooh. Pay 1 and a green. Target creature you control fights up another target creature. That's mean. Watcher in the Web, we both have this one. And that is his creature list. His creature list has some similarities to mine, but very, very different. And I have a feeling we went in somewhat different directions with this. I kind of leaned heavily into what Shelob's thing was, whereas he's leaned a little more into just a wide variety of token stuff going on. Choose a creature type, return all creature cards of the chosen type from your graveyard to the battlefield. Bloodline binding is mean. Cultivate, classic, 2 and a green. You get to get 2 lands, 1 on your hand and 1 on the field. Farseek, search your library for basically anything other than a forest and put it onto the battlefield. Many Partings, we both actually have this one in here. Get a basic land and make a food for 1, which is freaking amazing. Nature's Lore, search your library for a forest, put it onto the battlefield. Reanimate, classic, put target creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield, and then you lose life equal to its mana value. Rise of the Witch King. Each player sacrifices a creature. If you sacrifice a creature this way, you can return another permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I'm surprised I didn't put that in my deck. I can't remember why I didn't put that in my deck. I think I just had too many of the other cards. I do have this one. Spider Food. Destroy an artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying and make a food token. I do not have this. Create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach for each creature card in your graveyard. Damn. I'm going to do the enchantments next while I'm up here so that I don't have to keep coming back up and down. Arachnus Web, enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block and its activated abilities can't be activated. I can't remember if I put that one in my deck or not. No, I don't think I did. Because I don't remember the destroying the web thing at the end. Curse of the Clinging Webs, enchant player. Whenever a non-token creature enchanted player controls dies, exile, and you create a... Ooh, that is cool. Dictate of Erebos, whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature, which goes insanely well with that. Grave Pact. Oh. Go back up to Grave Pact. Thank you. Whenever a creature you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each player sacrifices another creature. So again, Curse of the Clinging Webs is getting beefed up massively. We both actually have this one in our decks. When this thing enters battlefield, create a food token. Foods have tap for green, and pay 5 and 2 green, sacrifice this thing, and creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of foods you control. And he has a Phyrexian Arena, which, yeah. Snoop definitely leaned hard into, this is just a vicious, but excellent, well-built deck. I'm not going to say it's bad by any means, don't get me wrong. This is a very nice deck. Arachnogenesis. Create X 1/2 green spider creature tokens with reach, where X is the number of creatures attacking you prevent. Ooh. I need to get a copy of that. That's pretty cool. Assassin's Trophy. Destroy target permanent opponent controls. Its controller may search your library for a basic land. Okay. Beast Within. Classic. Bite Down. Pretty solid if you want to do biting stuff. Entish Restoration. Sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic lands. Put them on the battlefield tapped. If you have a creature of power 4 or greater, instead search your library for up to 3 basic lands. Ooh. Why did I not use that? Connie Ambush. Target creature you control fights a target creature you don't control, or it comes in as a land. Malakir Wreath Birth. Target creature you control loses 2 life. Choose target creature. You lose 2 life until end of turn. That creature gains when this creature dies. Return to the battlefield tapped under its own control. Also can be a land that taps for black. Putrefy, destroy an artifact or creature. It can't be regenerated. Second Harvest. So you're going to get a whole bunch of extra tokens. Stew the Connies. Another nice Lord of the Rings card. If I remember correctly. There we go. Target creature you control deals damage. Yeah, it's another bite spell, and you get a food token out of it. Terrifying presence. Prevent all combat damage that be dealt by creatures other than target creature this turn. Ooh, I didn't know that existed. Over here, he's got the Bajuka Bog, which is classic black land. Command Tower. This thing comes in as either black or green. Nice. Deathcap Glade. Nice. 5 forests. 1 gingerbread cabin. Golgari Rot Farm. Llanowar Wastes. Minus Morgul. Ooh. Cabal Coffers, but with flair. I like the added flair here. Beautiful job there, Snoop, on that one. Overgrown Tomb. Path of Ancestry. Actually, we both have Path of Ancestry, which that just makes perfect sense, to be honest. Although, I have a lot more spiders than you do, so I'm going to get a bunch more triggers off that. Reflecting Pool is interesting. Rogue's Passage. That's a good one to include in this deck. What is a Swarmyard? Taps for colorless. Tap, regenerate target instant rack, spider, or squirrel. Ooh. Yeah, okay, that's a good one. The Shire, definitely worthwhile putting in here. Twilight Mire. Underground Mortuary. Undergrowth Stadium. Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth. Verdant Catacombs. Vernal Fen? Oh, we went too far down. We can't actually see the art anymore. Okay. Vernal Fen? Wastewood Verge? Woodland Cemetery? And Cradle of Growth, so all your lands are forests and all your lands are swamps in this deck. How much is your deck worth? Like, oh shit, $626 for your deck if you wanted to build it with all these cards. Then he's got Arcane Signet, Ashnod's Altar, Banner of Kinship, Chromatic Lantern, Golgari Signet, Lightning Greaves, Ronus Monument. Green spells cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast a green spell, target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains. Fuck off. Soul Ring. Urza's Incubator. Choose battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type cost 2 less to cast. Oh, yeah, okay. Viridian Longbow. This creature deals 1 damage to any target. Yeah, with the Death Touch, that means you're going to just kill everything. And Vorpal Sword, which I have a copy of that in something, but it's definitely not in this deck. Alright, well there is Snoop's deck, and Snoop's deck is scary as per usual. And it definitely hits the mark in terms of what we were going for for our Commander Core Creator Challenge this month. As per usual, my deck is going to be a lot less scary and a lot more kind of janky, because that's how I roll. And because of all the Dollarama Draws of Destiny stuff, I just don't have all the crazy power cards that people have. But what I do have is a lot of bulk stuff that I can use to make fun decks. So, this is going to be my Shelob deck. And my Shelob deck, we're going to fly through some of the stuff because we've already seen it in Snoop's deck. But basically, my goal is to make a shite ton of foods. That is my goal, is to make foods and make spiders. And make people pay for the amounts of spiders and foods that I use. So, I start off the changes with Greta Sweet-Tooth Scourge. She's a 3/3. When she enters the battlefield, I make a food. I can pay green and sacrifice a food to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Or I can pay black and 1, sacrifice a food. I get to draw a card and lose a life. So she gives me a lot of versatility for all the different foods I'm going to be making with Shelob. And with all my spiders. Next up, I have Yagra, Eater of All. 3, a black and a green. For 6/6, ward, sacrifice a food, which won't be a problem for me. But other people might have some challenges with that. Other creatures are food artifacts in addition to their other types and have pay 2 sacrifice. So, I mean, they're going to be able to sacrifice tokens and stuff to target this per se, but whenever a food is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put 2+1/+1 counters on this guy. So, he's going to get pretty big. He's going to get pretty big. There's the Arasta that I talked about earlier. And to go with my Arasta, I put in Peregrine Took. So whenever one or more tokens would be created under my control, those tokens plus an additional food are created instead. So all the Shelob foods that I'm making, I'm going to make extra foods. And all the spiders I make, I'm going to make foods. And then Greta is going to have a whole bunch of stuff that she can do with my foods. And so will Yagra. So that is basically kind of how my deck leans. It's a lot more foody and a lot more spidery. And here we go with the spiders. We got a Swift Spinner, 2/3 for 3 and a green with Flash and Reach. Watcher in the Web, which we already saw in Snoop's deck. This thing's insane though. It can block 8 creatures each combat, in theory. Deadly Recluse, Reach Death Touch, 1/2. Copper Longlegs, Reach, pay 1 and a green, sacrifice this thing to proliferate. Netcaster Spider, 2 and a green for 2/3 with Reach, and whenever it blocks this creature with flying, it gets +2/+0. Mirkwood Spider, Death Touch, 1/1, and when it attacks, target legendary creature I control gains Death Touch until end of turn. I don't have a ton of legendary creatures in here, but I mean, there are a few. Not Vold Recluse, Reach, 4/2, 2 and a green. Mammoth Spider, 4 and a green for 3/5 with Reach. Sky Snare Spider, 4 and 2 green for Vigilant Reach, 6/6. That one's pretty badass, I think. Plus it's going to end up with Death Touch and Ward 2, if it's out with my commander. 2 and a green, 1/2 Reach. When this thing enters, that's when you get the extra spider. That one was in Snoop's deck. Treetop Snare Spinner, 3 and a green for 1/4 with Reach and Death Touch, and I can pay 2 and a green to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature I control. Canopy Spider can block creatures with flying, so basically it has Reach. It's a 1/3 for 1 and a green. Oran Reef Recluse, 2 and a green, kicker 2 and a green, Reach, and if I kicked it, I get to destroy a creature with flying. Probably not going to have to do that, but just in case, it's a nice little option. Mineshaft Spider, 3 and a green for 3/4 with Reach, and when it enters the battlefield, I can mill 2 cards. Broodweaver, 3 and a green for 2/4 with Reach, and when it dies, I get a green spider. I did have one of those. I do have the Sweet Gum Recluse as well that we saw earlier in Snoop's deck. Chainweb Arachner, Reach. When it enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature with flying and opponent controls. It has Escape, 3 and 2 green. And I have to exile 4 other cards, but if it escapes, it gets 3+1/+1 counters on it. So it goes from a 1/2 to a 4/5. Snare Spinner, Reach. When it blocks a creature with flying, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Wait, do I have that twice? No, okay. I was really worried about that, to be honest. I had a whole bunch of different spider cards, and I was like really, really careful, but also still really nervous that I was going to include 2 of the same one because they have so many similar abilities. Sentinel Spider, 3 and 2 green for 4/4 with Vigilance and Reach. And again, Death Touch and Ward 2. Giant Spider, 3 and a green for 2/4 with Reach. There's the Canyon Crawler from Avatar, Death Touch already on it. I get a food when it comes in, and it's a 6/6, so pretty badass. Brood Spinner, like Snoop had. Pretty good one. I also included a Skyfisher Spider, sorry. Reach. When it enters the battlefield, I can sacrifice another creature. If I do, I get to destroy a non-land permanent. And when it dies, I can gain 1 life for each creature in my graveyard. But I have to exile this if I do. So, useful. I also included a few shapeshifters with changelings so that they would also get the spider abilities. So when this one enters, I can exile a creature from my graveyard. If I do, I can destroy an artifact or enchantment. Actually, I can exile it, which is pretty good. This one lets me put stuff back onto the bottom of my library from my graveyard, which is helpful when I lose Yagra and a few other things. Gladewalker gives a +1/+1 counter to a creature I control when it comes into play. And this one almost looks like a spider, so I had to include it. Reach, whenever it enters the battlefield, if there are 3 or more creature cards in my graveyard, I gain 5 life. It's a 3/5. Pretty good. This is one of the 2 closers in this deck. If I can get this off at the right time, it would be insane. Because basically, if I can pay enough mana to sacrifice all my foods, or if I have... There's a few spells in here that will wipe out a variety of creatures on the board. If I can get this into play after those things go off, I end up with a really big-ass bear. And there is actually a card in here that can let me turn this big-ass bear into a spider, which is fun. So, that is one of the 2 closers in this deck, for that reason. Yagra is actually... Okay, there are 3 closers. Yagra is the other one. Is one of them, for sure. Because that can get really big, too, and if I can turn that into a spider, I have the same thing going. And then the other one, of course, is just Shelob herself is a pretty good card for this deck. Oh, will you stop falling over? So annoying. So annoying! I swear it's doing it on purpose. Okay, I'm doing it like that now, just to deal with that issue, so I can continue this video. 2 and a green for a 0/1 Somberwalled Sage is solid, because it taps to add 3 mana of any one color. I can only use it to cast a creature spell, but I mean, this guy is going to help a lot with helping to get my spiders and stuff out onto the field. Land of War Elves, classic mana dork. 3-tree Root Reaver, solid mana dork, because it adds 1 mana of any color. So, in my mind, the 3 mana dorks are essentially like creatures that get caught in Shelob's web, and she just uses them for her advantage. I do actually have a 4th mana dork, but it actually doubles as a land, so I counted it in my land pile. Which my land pile is actually pretty solid this time around. So, we have Arachnoform, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Enchant creature, 1 green. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2, has reach, and is every creature type. So it becomes a spider when it gets enchanted with this, which means it gets Shelob's abilities. So this goes on to Yagra, this goes on to the bear. Either way, I'm swinging in for some devastation. Midnight Snack. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, you get to make a food. I'm going to attack most turns. Pay 2 and a black, sacrifice this thing, and target opponent loses X life, where X is the amount of life I gain this turn. There is the Knight of Sweet's Revenge that Snoop had in his deck. Definitely useful in this deck. I threw in one of my 2 copies of Dormant Grove. At the beginning of combat on my turn, I get to put +1/+1 counter on a creature I control. If that creature's has toughness 6 or greater, I transform this. And then it becomes a 3/6 that gives all my creatures vigilance. So all my spiders become Death Touch and Vigilant, which means that they can block and attack, and that makes them insanely deadly on the field. 2 and a green, +2/+2, give trample. This is fantastic for Yagra, or I can throw it on Shelob. And then I have a 10/10 that deals commander damage. Trollhide, another good one for Shelob, +2/+2, and I can regenerate her, or Yagra, or the bear. Hunter's Talent gives me damage to power. When it enters, target creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature I don't control. So, similar to what Snoop was doing with some of his bite spells, it's a way that I can use a Death Touch creature to eliminate something. Whenever I attack, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains trample. And then when I get to level 3, at the beginning of my end step, if a creature with power 4 or greater is under my control, I get to draw a card. All very useful. I included 1 Spider-Man card in here, Web Crawl, 3 and a green. When it enters, I get to make a 2/1 green spider creature token with reach, and I gain 1 life for each spider I control. And then all my spiders get +1/+1, can't be blocked by creatures with Defender. I'm not expecting to run into a lot of people who have Defender, per se, but the extra +1/+1 is pretty solid for all the little tokens that I'm going to be making with Death Touch, so... I have a Colossal Dread Mask. +6/+6 in trample. That is insane as far as I'm concerned. Again, Shelob, Yagra, Bear. Bear already has trample, but still, an extra +6/+6 doesn't hurt, and that's an artifact. Commander Sphere, 1 mana of any color, sacrifice it to draw a card. I included this one for the flavor because of Shelob. Burnished Heart gets me a couple lands onto the field. Patchwork Banner, instead of the one that you use, Snoop, for your deck with the cute little mice, I'm saving that one for my bunny deck. But this one is still equally good. I choose a creature type. It's going to be spiders. All my spiders are going to get +1/+1, and this taps for 1 mana of any color. Nutrient Block, Indestructible, pay 2, tap, sacrifice this, I gain 3 life, and whenever an artifact is put into my graveyard from the battlefield, I draw a card. Basically, I just included a few food artifacts into this deck as extra foods for me to have extra targets. Lombus, I love this one. Comes into battlefield, I scry 1, then draw a card. Sacrifice it like the normal way, and when it gets to the graveyard from the battlefield, I get to shuffle it back into my library. So, pretty solid card, that one. Dubious Delicacy, Flash, it's an artifact food. It comes into play, a target creature gets -3/-3. And then I can pay 2 to sacrifice and gain 3 life, or I can pay 2 to sacrifice and make somebody lose 3 life. Candy Trail, enters battlefield, scry 2, pay 2, tap, sacrifice, gain 3 life, draw a card. Solid all around. Shelob's Ambush. Target creature gets +1/+2 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. Make a food. And again, whenever I make a food, if Peregrine Took is out, I'm making an extra food. So that's a lot of foods to tap for mana. Baked into a Pie. Pay 2 and 2 black. Destroy creature. Create a food. Roamer's Routine. I get a basic land. Put it onto battlefield tapped. I like this one because of the Harmonized thing. There's going to be a lot of creatures in here with mana value... or with power 4 or greater, so I'm not going to have an issue reducing that to like 1 green for the buyback. As I said, many partings in both our decks, as is Spider Food. But I also went all in on this, so I threw in Taste of Death. It's a little expensive, but everybody's going to sacrifice 3 creatures, and then I make 3 food. I included Vigor Mortis because I really like this card. 2 and 2 black. Return target creature from my graveyard to play. If I paid green for this as well, which I'm going to, I get to put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Fun way to get Shelob back, or the Yagra, or the Bear. Probably not the Bear, actually. Snakeskin Veil. +1/+1 counter. Target creature gets hexproof until end of turn. Deadly Brew. Each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker of their choice. If I sacrifice a permanent this way, I can return another permanent from my hand. I think I picked this one instead of the Witches one, or, yeah, instead of the one that was more flavorful, just because it was cheaper, to be perfectly honest. Fake Your Own Death. I do get a treasure token. This is the only way I can get a treasure token in this deck, but when I do get a treasure token, I'm also getting a food, potentially. Evolution Charm. Get a basic land, or I can return a creature card, or I can give a creature flying until end turn. Can you imagine Shelob flying in for commander damage on a person who can't block it? Scale of Heights. I like this card. It's very versatile for 3. You get a +1/+1 counter, a creature, you gain 2 life, you can play a land, and you can draw a card. All very valuable things for 2 and a green. And finally, we start with the lands. This is the mana dork I was talking about. I have a Tangled Florahedron. Comes into play, taps for green, or I can make it a land. Tangled Veil. I included the Path of Ancestry for a very obvious reason, because I'm going to be doing a shite ton of scrying in this deck, if I get my way. I like this card. Fertile Thicket is pretty cool as a land. It enters battlefield tapped. When it enters battlefield, you may look at the top 5 cards of your library. If you do, reveal a land, a basic land card from among them, and you can put that card on top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So it's a fun way to fish out an extra land if you're like land screwed. I included a Thriving Grove. and a Thriving More because I'm not paying for Cabal coffers and other cards like that. I don't have that kind of money. So instead, simple ways to get a green and a black onto the field. I have a Jungle Hollow, simple life gain, life loss, or life gain, and taps for green black. And then I have 15 forests and 15 swamps. So for once in a change, I think I have like 36 or 37 lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 36 lands in this deck. So hopefully that will appease my buddy Snoop, and he won't be on my case for being so land shy when I build decks. This is actually one deck that I'm actually probably going to sleeve up and play, to be honest. I actually really enjoyed building this, and I had a lot of fun with it. I could lean into doing some of the stuff that Snoop's doing. I definitely have an extra Finn the Fangbearer laying around somewhere that I could throw in there. But honestly, I kind of just like it the way it is. It's very simple, very basic spider stuff. It's not trying to do anything too crazy. It gives me a ridiculous amount of food, so I have an insane amount of mana to just keep replaying my commander if I ever lose my commander, which is the main reason why I set it up this way. And yeah. So without further ado, let's rip a couple of packs of cards and get you out of here. Because I did say that I would do that as a bonus. To thank you guys for your patience this month, because I did not get this done in a timely fashion. And like I say, from this point forward, there's going to be a new series starting on the channel. Hopefully starting next week, if all goes well. Where I'm going to actually build a... the token's on the back? Oh, this pack is not in the backwards order. Okay. If all goes well, my plan is to build one commander deck a month and make like a series of videos where I show you how I'm building that commander deck from start to finish. Giving you an idea of how I've decided what cards to keep, what cards I won't, etc., etc. Flaring Cinder, 1 and a combination of 2 blue or red. 3/2, when it enters, and whenever you cast a spell with mana value 4 or greater, you can discard a card if you do draw a card. Yeah, it's not bad. Treefolk Cleric, 4 and 2 white. Convoke, Vigilance, 5/6. Nice. I like the artwork on this one too. That one's a fun one. I'm happy with that one. Changeling Wayfinder, 3 for Shapeshifter with Changeling. When it enters the battlefield, you can search a library for a basic land, reveal, and put into your hand, then shuffle. Nice. That's pretty useful. I might consider replacing that with the Burnished Heart in that Shelob deck that I just showed you guys, because that, although the Burnished Heart is good, it costs 6 to pull it off. And that guy only costs 3 to put into play, and then he automatically gives me a basic land. Put 4 -1/-1 counters on target creature at instant speed. Not bad, not bad. So far, still my Changeling is my favorite card in this pack. Midnight Tilling, 1 and a green, mill 4 cards, and you can return a permanent from among them to your hand. Okay. It's not bad. Not my... It'll go well in the right deck, that's for sure. Focus. Tweeze. 2 and a red. Deals 3 damage to any target. You can discard a card if you do draw a card. That's pretty good value. Still loving the Changeling. Gallant Foul Knight, 3 and a white for Kithkin Knight, 3/4. When it enters, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Kithkin creatures you control also gain first strike. Eventually I gotta build a Kithkin's deck, I suppose. Especially if I keep getting more of these. 3 and a green for a 3/5 Kithkin Knight, Bristlebane Outrider. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. As long as another creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, this creature gets +2/+0. Boulder Dash. 1 in a red. Deals 2 damage to any target, and 1 damage to any other target. Neat. That's actually pretty useful. I have a deck that would go well in. Dark Descends. 2 and 2 black. Put 2 -1/-1 counters on each creature. Shit. That's vicious. Rhymekin Recluse. Elemental Wizard. 2 and a blue for a 3/2 and enters. Return up to 1 target creature card to its owner's hand. Yeah. We got a nice full art. Sapling Nursery. 6 and 2 green. Affinity for forests. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield. Whenever a land enters, you control enters. Create a 3/4 green tree folk creature token with reach. Okay, this is a hit of the day for me for sure. That is definitely going to make my landfall deck insanely cool. Pay 1 and a green, exile this thing. Tree folk and forest you control gain indestructible until end turn. I mean, although I might save that because I do want to build a tree folk deck at some point, but that is definitely the hit of the day right now. I don't think anything's beating that unless we get something really sick in Avatar. This definitely isn't. Burning Curiosity. 2 and a red. As additional cost to cast this, you may blight 1, exile the top 2 cards of your library. If the spell's additional cost was paid, exile 3 cards instead. Till your next turn, you can play those cards. I've never been a super huge fan of Impulse Draw. Mountain. We got an Elk, which is pretty. And a Mutavault, whatever the fudge that is. Token land. Taps for colorless. Pay 1. This token becomes a 2/2 creature with all creature types until end of turn. It's still land. Ooh, cool. It's kind of neat. I'm sure somebody wants that token, probably. I don't necessarily have anything that uses that, but that's kind of neat. Alright, the Sapling Nursery is the card to beat. Can you do it, Avatar, is the question. We are still trying desperately. 4 chances left. This will make 3 after today. To pull the 5-color Avatar. Desperately trying. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 and 4 should be that, like that. Okay. We start with a Yip Yip, which is always one of my favorite instants, actually, because just simply the flavor of it, if nothing else. Can I get that to stop being so freaking wonky? Zoom in, zoom out. There we go, that's better. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end turn. If it's an ally, it gets flying. It's a solid little instant and lesson. Avatar Enthusiasts. Whenever an ally comes into play, this guy gets a +1/+1 counter. So, solid. Another Canyon Crawler. Another solid ad. Flexible Waterbender, 3 and a blue. Vigilance. Waterbend 3, and it becomes a 5/2 instead of a 2/5, but I'm not going to do that. Vindictive Warden, Menace, Firebending 1, deals 1 damage to each opponent for 3. It's not bad. I do like that guy, actually. Wall Tap Sentries, reach Death Touch, and when it dies, if there's a lesson card in your graveyard, you gain 2 life. That one's insanely good, actually. Lots of value on that one. Rhinos. Rough Rhino Cavalry. Firebending 2, 5/5 for 4 and a red, and exhaust 5 you can get, or exhaust 8, sorry, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on this thing, it gets trampled until end of turn. I really wish it got a trample counter, and I'm sure I've said that before, but still pretty decent. Ooh, we got a new version of I didn't have this one yet. My Scornful Striker. 1 and a black for Human Noble Ally. First strike, whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. I have a fun idea for a deck with that. Ooh, we got a Jean the Deserter. Nice. 2 and a red, Firebending 1, exhaust 3, put a +1/+1 counter on this guy, and when you do, next lesson you cast this turn. Oh, sorry, when you next cast a lesson spell this turn, you get to copy it, and choose new targets for the copy. Human Rebel Ally. Nice. Earth Kingdom General. 3 and a green for 2/2. Human Soldier Ally. When it enters, Earthbend 2. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters. Whenever you do that onto a creature, sorry, you can gain that much life. We got the Air Nomad Legacy enchantment. When it enters, create a clue token. Creatures you control with flying get +1/+1. That's pretty solid. We got the worst token in the world that you can possibly pull. So I'm just going to take that. I'm going to pitch it over there. No, I'm just kidding. I really don't like those, though. All right. Our land is a Misty Palms Oasis. Not bad. Not sure how many of those I had, so I will take it. We got the fan as our holo. And... aww. Still no avatar. Faded Firepower. Haven't pulled this yet, though. It is a mythic, so that's pretty cool. 3 red and X. This enchantment enters with X fire counters on it. If a source you control deals damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus an amount of damage equal to the number of fire counters on this enchantment instead. Okay, I am sad that I did not get the avatar, but that thing is going to be the key highlight in my firebending deck when I eventually build it. That thing will be massively cool for my firebending deck when I eventually build it. However, I think I like the Sapperling Nursery a little bit more. Let me know which one you would pick. Which card, if you had to pick between that one and this one, which one would you pick? If I can get the lighting to stop being so stupid. So you can see it better. Without the glare. Fucking glare. Overhead light. You and your damn glare. Alright. Closing it. Let me know in the comments which one you would pick. And let me know if you enjoyed this deck. Much love to you all from Kaiba, who's run off a long time ago, and myself to you. Take care. Thank you for watching the final episode of Commander Core Creator Challenge. And I look forward to seeing you guys when I eventually come up with the new deck series. Bye!